I'm Kevin Game. I'm from Bamboka on the far south coast of New South Wales.
I'm Brodie Game, a dairy farmer from Bamboka on the New South Wales far south coast, and we're the 22-23 Dairy New South Wales Focus Farmers. So our journey into the dairy industry was a little bit of a different path to the norm. 10 years ago we started with 2 cows, milking those with a single cow milker and rearing beef calves and selling them into the market, and then over the years we've moved into share farming and lease farming, and in the last 12 months we bought the farm that we're on now. That's a very shortened version of how we got to where we are. There's certainly been ups and downs and it's not linear, but yeah, our little bit different path of how we got here.
When we first applied for the Focus Farm, we were probably at a bit of a stalling point in what we were doing, and just needed a bit of guidance and a few different ideas from outside our circle and outside the valley to sort of prompt us into our next move.
When we first looked at applying to be a focus farmer, my view was probably a little bit more dramatic, but we'd been through some pretty terrible weather conditions with drought and fires, and we were kind of at our wits' end. We were sort of at that breaking point in the fork in the road, whether we continue dairying or we find another path. And the Focus Farm for us was outside help to give us that last-ditch effort. In our interviews and the selection process, we were pretty positive about it and really happy to take everything on board. It was more an investment in our own human capital rather than anything else, and I think that has paid off in droves for us in the last 2 years.
I think the biggest one was, because we were a bit scarred from the drought and the fires and everything else, we sort of wound our numbers right back, which was, making it hard for ends to meet basically. But we weren't going to do anything until, our goal was to get some fodder stored before we made the next move. And, with milk prices, and we were in a terrific season when we started the Focus Farm, and they're just like, you need more cows. The next week we had 60 cows land on the farm, and that made all the difference.
When we selected the support group, we picked people that we held in a pretty high regard for the different areas that they excelled in. We were actually quite shocked when people were surprised when we asked them, because we did hold them in such high regard. But we were really vulnerable at that first meeting. We laid everything out on the table. There was no secret, so everybody knew exactly what point we were at, so we could trust every suggestion that they made, that they knew everything. We weren't holding anything back, so it did make the process a lot easier to trust and follow through with those decisions, and I think they've paid off. Working with someone from outside the business like Justin, I think has been really valuable. When we're trying to make decisions, there's a lot of emotions that come into those decisions. So when you get somebody who can step in from the outside, who's not living in your bubble, who's not in your mental state, they can remove those emotions and make really strategic decisions with you. They still have empathy for those emotions, but yeah, making the decisions without those emotions attached makes it a lot easier. And Justin did that, tenfold. He was really good for that in our business. And because he'd also been through the Focus Farm process, he could relate to where we were at with different open days and different things that were happening in the meeting. So it was really good for us.
I think definitely you should have someone involved in your business that's not in your business, just for that outside perspective, like up to heads to be.
I think the biggest advice we have in applying for Focus Farm is that you have to be prepared to be vulnerable. If you're not going to put everything on the table, you can't expect everybody to give you solid advice, because they don't know the full situation. And for us, we felt like we were naked that first support group meeting, and we were exhausted by the end of it, and people could see that on our faces, but it changed the whole game for us. We walked away from that first meeting and made some big decisions and some big changes, but we had full trust in the group and in the decisions we were making, so that vulnerability changed the game.
I think also after we'd put all those cards on the table, the weight that got lifted off our chest was tremendous. It was just unbelievable how you felt after it, just being able to tell someone else where you're at.
Yeah, the problem shared was a problem halved.